Ugh, I wish we'd had some real food to go with those cocktails earlier. I'm starting to think that drinking 2 or was it 3 mixed drinks without any nibbles was not a great move.
That's why I stick with tea. Speaking of tea, does anyone have any biscuits? They really don't compare. It's delicious, greasy, thinly sliced luncheon meat, such as salami, for example.
Wait. Andy, when you say tea, do you mean the drink or do you mean the meal? Because you British, you use tea. You have too many meanings for the word tea.
The answer is yes.
Oh, hell yeah, we need nibbles. You know I gots to get my nibble on the regular. Why don't we go just head back out to the food court and get some stuff from, the thing?
By stuff from the thing, you mean the supply freezer in the food court? That is now completely frozen in blocks of ice?
Yeah.
So what? We take all our pickaxes and ropes and winches that we definitely have, chip our food free inch by grueling inch, and then just, haul the food back here in giant blocks of ice that totally don't weigh literal tons?
Yeah, that whole kind of thing.
And then we'd have to spend weeks defrosting the food over what little fires we can make by burning all of these worthless piles.
Hey.
I was going to say worthless books.
Well, now you're making it sound a little bit tricky, I guess.
I am sensing that many of our society members may be a bit peckish.
I think hangry might be the word you're looking for.
Should we return to the food court, but this time, front of house, so we can order from the window? Like normal people, like real normal people do every single day?
No way.
You think we can do anything normal?
No, we absolutely cannot risk running into the evil usses.
Trademark.
Again. As in running into, not the trademark. They might still be out there waiting for us to make another mistake.
And we're also very broke.
Again.
Pretty sure they don't use the barter system in the food court.
We may not have any currency or goods to barter, but perhaps we could offer services? Eh?
No!
Aw. Okay. I will agree we could use something to eat other than a, centuries-old packet of saltine crackers.
That was weirdly specific.
Not that I was looking for something to give Clark Nova a bump in the desk instead of, life-sustaining nourishment for my human compatriots. No sirree, Bob.
Speaking of centuries old, where have you been, you old sentient turkey jowl? You've returned. We're starting to worry.
We nearly froze to death.
Yeah, where were you when the society was in danger of hypothermia?
Well, you see, you told me I could not sleep in the minivan.
Say it correctly.
The Cinemania mobile. You didn't let me take turns sleeping there like the rest of you.
Well, sleeping privileges have to be earned. No naps for the lazy.
So, when you all went off together, I decided to take a quick snooze.
No.
But when I awakened, you still hadn't returned.
Because we were slowly freezing to death.
I'm pretty sure we were in a fridge, not a freezer, you guys.
Close enough.
You're exaggerating just a smidge.
Get on with it. There was a forest behind the parking lot, so I went foraging for mushrooms.
Mushrooms, you say? Did you find any?
No, but I did find these berries. How fetching they look, and yet be warned before you eat them.
Bitter. Oh, very good. Ooh, but
that
bitter.
was not very satisfying.
Those barely deserve to be called an amuse-bouche. Look at this bouche. Does it look very amused to you?
How do you know that term?
What? Just because I'm a cocktail connoisseur doesn't mean I can't also be cultured. I'm not drunk 100% of the time. Just, 90, 95%. I don't know.
They may not be very filling, that's true, but there is a certain je ne sais quoi about them.
Now you're speaking French too.
I'll have you know I took 6 years in high school. So I also know how to say voulez-vous coucher avec la fenêtre? Thank you.
When did our bookshop window get replaced with a large TV screen? The graphics are really, really high def.
Hey, let's cruise over here and oh wow, like the images are so lifelike.
I don't remember having a TV screen in my bookshop, you guys.
I see shoppers walking between different shops, but to watch a screen this big, oh man, I really need snacks because I am really hungry.
Excellent idea that no one has ever had.
Wait, snacks?
Okay, but the food court is out. Any other ideas?
Didn't the old strip mall have a mini mart?
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's still there. Let's go!
Yeah, Mini Mart, man. Let's hit up the... Let's make a run to the Sleaze Mart, yo. Whoa. We can't venture outside so close to the video store. They might see us.
Who?
The doppelgangers. The clones.
Huh?
Neither of those are a thing, you guys.
The evil us's.
Trademark.
They work right next door. We need disguises to go out foraging for snacks and other tasty treats at the mini-mart. They must see nothing, suspect nothing of our doings.
Indeed. To truly throw an enemy off the scent, you need a good disguise. That's why they called me the Hooded Shadow Abseiler.
Is that French?
Literally, no one has called you that, nor ever will.
Because of the effectiveness of a good disguise.
Huh. You know what wearing disguises to keep others from discovering your true identity reminds me of? Richard Linklater's 2006 adaptation of Philip K. Dick's A Scanner Darkly.
No. More dick? The last thing the society needs is more dick.
Look, I'd insert a dick joke here, but I feel like you all have the pieces. You can put that dick in yourselves.
Oh, le grand dick joke.
Ambiguity is a vein running through all of dick.
Balls.
Stop!
Another conclave? Now? While we're all so hangry?
I've been waiting forever to have an excuse to scrutinize this movie. Ahem, yes. Now, quickly, before we lose our focus.
Too late.
I'll start us off. Within the depths of the mysterious Mall of Misery lies a discount bookstore where society members retreat to hide from the dangers of the world. Past the dangerous hallways, completely exposed to roaming doppelgangers or clones, or the least evil us's, beyond the interconnected storefronts that lead to, possibly, the mini-marts, the members of a secret society assemble to scrutinize those films which are rumored to drive viewers to madness and dissolution. Draw closer, dear listener. Let your trembling ears sup upon the eldritch knowledge of the Cinemania Society.
We the fellows of the Lenses Hall do convene to judge if this fine cinema worthy of our esteem, or whether it should be cast down as worthless hokum. Let us don our friends in judgment. We the fellows... Oh.
Welcome to this conclave of the Cinemania Society. Please be seated. And welcome to our listeners, to whom I will now issue this warning. We, disciples of the Cinemania Society, have studied the mysteries of the motion picture and meditated upon the silver screen for many years. Therefore, we have become inured to the films we scrutinize, which may contain hazards unsuitable to young and sensitive ears. As such, we advise anyone listening to do so with discretion. Guard your ears carefully, lest you develop a severe and irreversible case of cinemania. Present at our conclave tonight are...
Inquisitor Ethan, Maven of the Montage.
Scrutinizer Zacharia, Guardian of the Door.
débaucheur Daniel, le possesseur de le word. Auntie Hope, keeper of the books.
And Verifier Andy, Master Illuminator.
Not present at tonight's conclave is Arbiter Alessa, voice from the outer world, due to being ensnared within higher dimensions unknown. I am Professor Andrea, scholar of San Francisco. I will be serving as Pontifex of Presentment for tonight's subject of scrutiny, A Scanner Darkly from 2006, directed by Richard Linklater, and based on novel by Philip K. Dick. Debaucher Daniel shall act as Master Castigator for this conclave. Daniel, present the charges.
Thank you. Charges against the movie A Scanner Darkly include, but are not limited to, questioning the nature of whether,
No, you missed it.
What? Oh,
Voiceover.
Sorry. I thought that was meant to. I thought that was a note.
No,
Okay.
it's a charge.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Sorry, go ahead. Let's start again.
Voiceover. Questioning the nature of whether, what's real is really real, man. I mean, think about it.
That's heavy. Man.
Misuse of Raid as a body spray. Picking style over substance. D. Cartoon boobies.
That aren't done by Ralph Bakshi.
Indeed. Insufficient references to The Matrix in a film released after 1998 starring Keanu Reeves. Criminal obfuscation of Keanu Reeves' beautiful visage. Criminal overexposure of Woody Harrelson's dumpy meat topper.
Hey.
Trying to apply logic while in a drug-induced haze. Suggesting that Robert Downey Jr. may have ever been in some way a shady character. Manipulating the audience into feeling bad about Alex Jones getting arrested. Unreasonably faithful adaptation of a Philip K. Dick story.
No, but for real.
That rules.
Serious trigger warnings do include drug use, threatened gun violence, threatened assault, nudity, attempted suicide, and briefly appearance of death.
Thank you, Debaucher Daniel. And I'll get started on the first summary. We begin this movie in media res with a weird man covered in bugs. He scratches, he twitches, he sprays himself with insecticide.
Speaking of insects, what's that scuttling sound?
Bug powder. It comes in aerosol cans. It's wavy wild.
Oh, God, someone get the big net on a stick. Continue.
At this point, the man's dog is now covered in bugs too, and they both end up together in the bath. After drying off, Charles Freck calls Barris. Robert Downey Jr. is truly on point in this role to ask him what he should do about the bugs.
I just want to point out this is literal bug fuck nuts.
Cool as a cucumber, Barris tells him not to worry, but to put one in a jar. He'll test it just to be sure. Probably aphids. Of course, once Freck is in the car on the way to Barris, no more bugs in the jar. Huh, that's funny. Maybe it was the cop car that pulled over and shot him? No, that didn't happen either. He's fine. It's hard to keep track of reality these days, isn't it? Somehow, Charles Freck isn't too worried.
But somehow he's also too worried. There may not be a correct amount of worrying.
Meanwhile, an undercover cop called Fred is giving an update at a press briefing. He goes on about the dangers of Substance D and how New Path is helping solve the crisis. Fred is wearing a scramble suit, so no human being nor software can figure out his identity. Unfortunately, Fred's mind starts to wander because the sheer hypocrisy of all is getting to him. He ignores the tiny microphone in his ear telling him what to say. Fred trails off into Substance D, despair, death, before being hustled away from the reporters. As he changes into his street clothes, we notice he looks like an addict. But maybe that's because he actually is one.
Damn. This film is hard to follow. And it isn't just because of the rotoscoping.
Yeah, that's because of all the dick.
Womp womp.
Or, yeah, sure.
Is it the heavy voiceover? They should have got Harrison Ford.
Various shenanigans ensue once Fred, known as Bob Arctor to his crew of burnt-out drug addict buddies, returns to the rundown crash pad that used to be a regular suburban track home His home, in fact, when he still had a wife and kids and felt the crushing weight of middle-class drudgery. Nowadays, Bob's day consists of a little light shoplifting, chatting while dropping D and other drugs, and watching his friends argue for no reason. Yet somehow it always seems incredibly important at the same time. One very memorable scene includes Barris bringing home a bike, which then provokes a discussion of whether the bike was stolen, how many gears it has, and whether the gears were somehow stolen. The only solution is, of course, to bring the bike outside and stop a random passerby to ask them how many gears it has. Foolproof logic there, Barris.
I want to point out two things here. Two things. Thing one is that this is an almost verbatim scene taken from the book, and it is an absolutely perfect illustration of what it's like to be around heads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say this rings all true. I feel like I've frickin' experienced this with so many frickin' druggies and shit.
Yeah. It's, the crazy thing is in 2003, I lived in almost the exact same house as this. This movie came out a year or two after I moved out of that, but I find it really funny that two of the roommates that I had were basically Bob Arctor and Barris.
Were they also rotoscoped?
No, but it certainly felt like they were at some times. I mean, I guess that would have made me Ernie Luckman, but no, I wasn't as cool. They didn't. One thing they left out was our fourth roommate, who was a violent psycho who had gotten thrown out of the Marines and actually later ended up getting a law license. He passed the bar.
So he was originally going to be played by John Hurt, but they left him on the cutting room floor.
Well, I just wanted to point out that I think both Philip K. Dick and Richard Linklater were excellent at identifying archetypes of lower classes, like, heads and junkies, the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dick necessarily saw himself as a head, but he popped a lot of amphetamines on a regular basis. So,
well, yeah, there you go.
Sorry, please carry on, Professor. I just wanted to.
Of course. If you think Barris seems like a dick, you would be right.
Yep.
Back at work, Fred, that is Bob. That is, okay, so Keanu Reeves gets back in the scramble suit. Everyone in the agency he's working for wears them, which means none of the agents actually know who each other is. Bob Arctor doesn't even know who his boss is. It's just two anonymous shifting blobs talking to one another. Bob's boss tells him that Barris has intel on Bob Arctor, so they instruct Bob to essentially observe himself. Talk about a mindfuck. And oh boy, Bob's mind is already fucked due to all the substance Z. He starts to worry that his rambling speech at the presser might have tipped off his bosses that he's hooked. And if that wasn't enough stress, Bob also has to watch hours of surveillance footage of his own home, reviewing the at times excruciating but otherwise incredibly dull conversations and interactions of everyone in this house. All this thinking is causing Bob to worry about his relationship with Donna, his substance D dealer and situationship, played by a sexy Winona Ryder. This may be the only thing Bob is clear-eyed about. Donna is definitely keeping Bob at arm's length.
Dude, am I the tinker or the tailor?
Dude, going back, like with Ethan saying, I lived, especially in my 20s, in a lot of houses with a lot of people on a lot of different substances, and all these conversations just struck so freaking hard. And him watching it back, it's like the people who are high and they think they have the answer to life and stuff and write down on a pad all of their ideas and stuff, and then when they sober up and read it, they're just like, what the fuck were we thinking, man? It just strikes true. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so I felt a little attacked by this movie. I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, we have all these conversations all the time too. And then we were like, oh yeah, but we don't do drugs.
The funny thing is that I feel like that conversation where they can't figure out the number of gears on the bike because they can't do basic mathematics and multiplication to determine the number of gears on the bike. I feel like I kind of remember that conversation happening at the house I was living in, between the guys who are the Bob Arctor archetype and the Barris archetype. Like, I feel like I remember that, but I'm not sure if it's a misplaced memory. So now I'm not sure how much Dick has been fucking my mind with D.
Yeah. How much has Dick dicked with your mind, I think, is what you're trying to say. Brother Andy, I smell a suspicious whiff of Cinemania. If you could get out the tinfoil straitjacket, that would be
I think that would be wise.
Hold still, Ethan.
And let's I think at this point we need to get
Okay, so quick announcement for you all. Clark Nova insists that he come with us to the mini mart.
One more extra skid is not keeping up with our bargain, Danny boy. Seems I need to be there to remind you to hold up your end. But you know what would? Some of that bug powder I heard about on the TV.
Well, I don't think the evil us's
Trademark.
know about Clark Nova,
Technically trademark.
so it should be fine.
nothing about that monstrosity is fine.
I already have a paper beard and glasses all cut out and ready to go for my disguise. There is no way those guys will see past this.
Where'd you get that paper?
Nowhere.
My books. You cut up my books? I'm gonna murder you.
No!
Uh-oh, grab
Put down that letter.
Zach.
Now, are you calm now, Hope? Hope, I am prepared to stop sitting on you if you're going to be calm. Okay, then.
Just you wait, Zach. One night, when you least expect it.
Great. Moving on. I have an excellent disguise. I took this tinfoil I found, and when I hold it to my face, thusly, behold, a shiny moustache.
But that was in my fez to ward off the spirits who try to possess me.
Also, if it's been in his fez, it cannot smell good. Are you sure you want that under your nose?
So, what about you two? Daniel, Ethan, what have you got?
A little leftover cardboard from the dojo window. I'll just poke out a few eye holes and... there. A clever mask.
You look like cut price bargain basement Groot.
Well, how's that a change from anything normal?
Daniel?
I have this old Navy hoodie.
You know what? Whatever.
I'm turning my hood into a scarf to hide my face.
Wow, that's really versatile. I wish I had one.
What about you, Professor?
Now, I thought about this really hard. And you know, in the movies, when Clark Kent wears glasses so no one recognizes he is Superman, well, I will do the opposite and remove my glasses.
Can you still see without them?
Of course. Well, mostly. Ow.
What a plan.
Can I come too? I could try a comb over to hide my identity. I think I have some remaining hairs. One moment.
Where would you even comb it over from? Your back? No. You can hold down the fort here in case the evil us's. Don't do it. Try a frontal attack while we're out.
Save that for later.
What is this?
Oh, it's Whole Market Farms. Looks expensive.
No. It looks artisanal. Look. Jumbo Andean corn dehydrated snack experience. Only $15.
I think you meant to say Andean.
$15? How can corn nuts cost this much?
Not corn nuts. A dehydrated snack experience involving corn.
You can't put a price on an experience like that.
I completely agree with Zach. Look at this. Asparagus water? It's just a stalk of asparagus in a bottle of water, and they want $25 for it. These prices are truly outrageous. Truly outrageous. More than Gem.
No singing.
We need a place to discuss this privately. Does anyone have any ideas?
Well, don't ask how I know this, but at the back of every store there is what's known as an employee break room. And at a store this pretentious, I'm rather confident no employees ever take breaks.
Great idea. Everyone scatter and meet in the employee break room, where we will discuss our next moves. And of course, return to the Conclave.
Now?
Of course, the Conclave must continue despite our current lack of snacks.
You with your conclaves and your aesthetics and all that.
Well, and it will continue with me reading the next section of the summary. The next time Bob is at the police station, he's surprised to hear that his good friend, bosom buddy, generally trustworthy home slice Jim Barris is actually there to inform the police about Bob's terrorist activities. Bob's boss instructs Barris to bring in evidence if he wants any action on this information. Barris also mentions that Bob is an addict with brain damage that causes psychosis and hallucinations. Projection much?
Right.
A very dangerous individual. Projection much? Bob's boss has to kick Barris out of the office. It is obvious that he's looking for a job as an informant, but his information is more than likely worthless. Yet to Bob, the accusations coming from the supposed friend sting. Meanwhile, back out in the world, Jim Barris continues posing a greater and greater threat to the group. First, he's fooling around with a gun, trying to create a silencer, which, when he shoots it, the sound is deafening. Next, Bob, Barris, and Ernie Luckman, a truly bonkers performance by Woody Harrelson, are traveling on the highway when suddenly the accelerator sticks. They nearly crash before managing to pull off the road. Popping the hood, Bob finds a screw turned the wrong way in the engine, which he thinks indicates sabotage. Luckman declares, "Don't blame the drugs, because the drugs didn't cause the sabotage, man." It's implied that Barris might have messed around with Bob's car engine. Even crazier, on the way back to the house, we find out that without Bob's knowledge, Barris booby-trapped Bob's home, leaving the front door unlocked with a note on it that says, "Come on in, the door's unlocked." In a truly baffling act of reverse psychology trickery. And yes, let me just point out, this is all stuff exactly that heads would do. This is absolutely drug head logic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in every basic, simple problem, these guys immediately turn it into a massive conspiracy theory or overthink it or race to every possible conclusion except the most obvious and simple one.
Don't blame the drugs, man.
Yeah, and it's also worth pointing out here, too, that Philip K. Dick, in the biography of Philip K. Dick written by Paul Williams, Only Apparently Real, Dick admitted to using amphetamines, but claimed that his doctor told him that they had no effect on him. But he still took them anyway. Amphetamines had no effect on Phil Dick at all, right? None.
What year was this written? I mean...
The book was originally published in 1977.
It strikes me as a 1970s kind of piece.
It's a near future thing as well. In the book, it's set in 1994. The book was published in 1977. This was set in the near future of 1994.
Huh.
And then the movie came out in 2005 or 6. So, yeah, it's like, it feels really real. That was one of the things that I really liked about the book, is that the near future felt like right now when I was reading it. And it happened to be not too far after when it was originally set.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
except
anyway.
for some technology issues, I mean, it pretty much nailed the 90s. Because, drugs, man. Drugs never change.
Moving on. The whole scene is so confused, the audience feels like we might be on drugs. When the crew arrives at the house and finds no note, but a warm roach in the ashtray, no, Clark Nova, we're not talking about you. It appears maybe someone did break in, but then Donna walks into the room, and she said she was there taking a nap when they rolled up and had smoked a joint because she can't sleep with otherwise, so that's what... Anyway, the whole scene becomes a massive fuck-up, no matter which way you view it.
Yep.
Again, classic head stuff. Things take a more potentially deadly turn, however, once Bob starts trying to actually fix the car. For reasons unknown, Barris disappears during an argument with Luckman. Moments later, Barris returns with a hammer and begins to menace Luckman, who then grabs a large rock to protect himself. Charles Freck starts screaming that he isn't going to stand around and watch someone get killed, which makes the other two laugh as Charles drives away. Just like that, the near-deadly altercation is forgotten. Or is it? Later on, while Bob is away at work watching surveillance footage from the cameras set up in the house, that were set up while they were out on their drive, by the way. This whole drive was a shock. he was taking all the rest of his buddies out of the house so that the cops could install surveillance scanners in the house.
Right.
So he's watching the surveillance footage. He sees Luckman start choking, and then he falls on the floor in the kitchen while Barris is in the next room doing nothing. Barris makes no attempt to help Luckman until Luckman has stopped moving, at which point Barris starts to call 911, and it would have been entirely too late to save his friend, but luckily Luckman starts coughing and vomiting and is actually not, in fact, dead. Bob watches it all on the monitors and curses Barris. Devilish mastermind, or completely zoned out and incapable of rationally solving basic problems? You decide.
Yeah, maybe a little column A, maybe a little column B.
Maybe all column D.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely column D.
Column Daddy.
I can't imagine what it'd be like to be watching this at work thinking, fuck, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's, remember he's like picking up the phone and he's like close to calling it in himself, but he's like, I can't because then they'll know somebody's watching, but he wants to save his friend. I mean, it is just a fucked up situation.
Speaking of being watched, Illuminator Andy, since Inquisitor Ethan has no more lenses... Can you tell us if these break rooms happen to have any security cameras?
That's an excellent question. I only see a few very large bees hanging surprisingly still in the air above us. Bugs, man. Why is it always bugs?
I see some beautiful flowers. Long stems hanging from the ceiling.
Whoa.
It's odd. There usually are cameras back here. You just know that Whole Market Farms doesn't trust their employees. But all I see are some tiny disco balls hanging from up there.
I thought they were lidless eyes hanging from their black, twisty retinas.
What the hell, dude? That is so dark.
Well, at any rate, it doesn't seem like there are any cameras here. However, clearly the decor cannot be trusted. Just in case, we should go incognito. Quick, put on these Whole Market Farms aprons.
But it will clash with my new hood scarf.
Do it, I say! Now that we are posing as employees, all of us, what's our next move?
Well, the prices here are awfully steep, and our entire budget consists of the loose change Brother Methuselah managed to fish out of the Cinemania Mobile's back seat.
Clark Nova, is there anything you can do to help us? Clark Nova? No, where did that little monster get off to?
There is only one sensible thing to do in our predicament. Shoplift. It is the only rational answer to an insane capitalist world.
Well, Philip K. Dick did say it is sometimes an appropriate response to reality to go insane.
Now you're talking. And my disguise is made for this. This cloak has so many pockets, you guys. I will come back with so much loot.
Yeah, fuck those guys and their corporate greed. See this poster? I'm gonna take it. Kitten hanging from a branch is now my new buddy. Hang in there, bed. Genius.
I was going to suggest that we raid the employee fridge.
That's low, man.
Yeah, we're not monsters.
Wait, who's that coming over?
How's lunch, guys? Off for my smoke break. See you at close.
Did you see that giant humanoid beetle that passed us?
Giant is right. And he only had one eye. Do you guys think he eats people?
Looks like the kind of guy who likes dehydrated snack experience. He was definitely smoking. But how was he on fire yet still able to walk?
None of this is making sense yet. It simultaneously all makes sense. What is going on?
Oh, that's just standard issue apophenia.
Right. He's right. It should make all the sense and none of the sense. And
Yeah, don't worry too much. Just relax and enjoy the berries, guys.
how many berries did we eat?
Debonair Daniel, do you know what's going on? Oh no.
Yeah, where exactly are you getting the D, Andy?
You have no right to ask anybody where they're getting the D. That is a personal question, sir.
I think it's best if we venture out into the store one at a time to avoid arousing suspicion. Hope, why don't you go first? Everyone else, try not to look too shifty while we wait.
Wish me luck. Let me get me some new books.
Books?
Here it is, the stationery and book aisle. Now I can start replacing all of the precious literature those heathens destroyed in my bookshop. The Notebook, The Time Traveler's Wife, Twilight? Well, close enough.
Can we have some candy, please? We promise we'll be good.
Oh, honey, just you wait just a minute. I need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8 birthday cards. And then we can go to the candy aisle and buy a big bag of those all-natural, organic, sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, plant-based lollipops you all love so much.
Yay!
Yay! Candy, candy, candy!
Give me candy! Candy, give me candy!
Candy, 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 candy.
Oh, that's a lot of kids. Are you a teacher or something? I love kids. I ran, actually, a bookshop for kids here in the mall. Oh, this little one in your class sure do love candy. Knock it off, kids. I'm trying to talk to your teacher. As I was saying, my bookshop was perfectly organized. You could find whatever you needed. Recipes, dark arts and crafts. Dark arts? Everything a young child could need to explore the supernatural, like the Very Hungry Zombie, Cthulhu's Web, the ABCs of Necromancy, and then not just when we get back to the mall and my bookshop is perfect again. Those imposters, those evil us's, whoever the fuck they are, you have the nerve to move into the video store next door and send the rest of the society into a frenzy. And now, all I have left of my books is this mass market paperback copy of Twilight. Magic? Magic for kids? This is reprehensible. I cannot believe you not only allow but promote these dangerous books and dark arts and crafts on the day of the Lord. That Harry Potter was bad enough posing as a terrible spiritual threat to our vulnerable youth. Your bookshop is nothing but a pitiful, barely disguised attempt to lure our Christian young people into Satanism. Whoa there. What is your problem?
Mom, are you okay?
Yeah, Mom, why do you look so mad?
Oh, wait. Are all of these your kids? Hold on just a minute. Oh, fiddlesticks. I think the twins need a change. I want to just head off. The nerve of that lady. Who does she think she is? My bookstore offered a much more grounded introduction to magic and occult than that stupid Boy Wizard series. Ugh, fuck TERFs and their fucking... Yeah, anyways. Well, might as well grab a few more books while I'm here. Let's see for the romantic stuff they've got. The book of Azrael, Cousin, the Owner's Son. Yeah, that'll do. Wait, is that? Ooh, is that the giant cyclops that we saw in earlier near the break room? Oh, I'm out of here.
You're back. What did you manage to get? A pizza?
Books!
Aw, nothing edible?
I mean, books can be edible in the right circumstances. Which ones in particular?
The Book of Azrael to start.
Ooh, good find. It's a great baby's first demonic summoning primer.
Better find would have been a large cheese pizza with pepperoni.
Zach, you big whiner. Here. Lunch, courtesy of the employee break room fridge.
All right.
Excellent. And now back to the Conclave.
Oh, what kind of heathens are we stealing from employees?
Back at the drug house, Bob is starting to lose it. Barris is shooting his mouth off about imposters, while Bob starts to see Barris and Luckman morph into human-sized cockroaches. Yet they keep their human heads, jabbering away as if nothing is amiss. Somehow, Bob still manages to joke in reply to Barris that narcs look like junkies, so just stay away from guys who look like us.
So I have a question. Do you think this is more of a reference to Naked Lunch or to the Metamorphosis?
I mean, it's a little bit Naked Lunchy. It's definitely, at the very least, a partially dressed brunch.
I mean, Naked Lunch in itself was a tribute to Kafka, so, yeah.
Well, when Barris leaves, Donna confides in Bob that she doesn't like that asshole because he is crazy, and he makes Bob crazy too. Of course, Donna is also never one to forget business, so she asks Bob if he has the money for the stuff. Donna never takes any D herself. She says she prefers to snort coke. Oddly enough, despite her and Bob's situationship, they never seem to get intimate either. Bob's noticed, and so is that jerk Barris who comments on this to Bob's face.
She said she never takes any D herself, huh?
Oh, beneath you, Zach.
I don't know. I don't think that's beneath him. It's just beneath the rest of us.
You're right. I think he's at that level. At work, Bob's boss, Hank, is insisting that he get some psych testing to make sure he's still functioning optimally. That substance D can really wreck a person, mess with your brain hemispheres, and cause you to see things as other things. So Bob goes to the testing unit. He jokes a bit with the doctors and asks how to impress a girl. They suggest flowers, blue flowers. Bob passes the first round of tests, but after he goes home and more time passes, the hallucinations start to get worse. For example, one evening when Donna's put him off again, he's trading drugs for sex with some random addict, and he sees Donna's face on the girl instead.
Admittedly, that does freak him out for a second.
I mean, he is aware that there's something going on that doesn't seem right.
Something about this is not quite right, but it's unclear what.
I'm still wondering about the testing scene. You see a blue flower walking in the desert. It's on its back. Do you help it?
I'll tell you about my mother. The world is getting even worse, too. On the street, a protester with a bullhorn, played by Alex Jones, by the way, is shouting about the dangers of substance D when a black van pulls up and he is taken away. Not only that, but Charles Freck has had enough of his insane drugged-out buddies, the bugs, the constant paranoia. Trigger warning here, there is an attempted suicide, but Charles comes out of it fine. Charles concocts a bizarre, if meaningful to him, plan to type a protest letter on an Ayn Rand and then unalive himself with downers and a very fancy bottle of wine. However, Charles Freck had been burned. The downers weren't barbiturates, they were some kind of psychedelic he'd never taken before, which meant instead of dying, he had a vivid hallucination involving an alien reading out his sins for eternity. Charles survived these hallucinations, and by the end of the film, he is in a new path detox.
That's bad. Time dilation on drugs is bad.
Dude, this sequence is all taken almost verbatim from the book. And also, I'd like to say, it's a real shame we did not actually get to see Alex Jones taken away in a big black van. I really wish that had happened. But, at least we can see it for pretend.
So, taking this so verbatim from the book, would you say, Brother Ethan, that that's a dick move?
Yes, this is a classic dick move.
Oh, neither of you are beneath that one.
Oh, I just assumed that he'd taken so many drugs he was like resistant, like impossible to kill.
Well, drug addiction is caused by a narrowing of the telemonosymphonic dopamine pathways, so, that is not beyond the realm of possibility there.
I was actually about to say that exact same thing.
That is very impressive.
I thought that was only opioid addiction, but
it can be other substances too. It's just the the right rate of return. It's why you have to re-up and do bigger and bigger doses, because the more of the substance that you take, the more resistance you get to. Unfortunately, it's not just for drugs, but it can be from anything, really. You know, you have a reaction too much, or just your brain pathways become overstretched, overtaxed. As they stretch, they get narrower and narrower. Therefore, you literally need more of it to feel the same rush and joy that you used to.
That's why I have to suck on old coffee filters every morning just to get out of bed.
Exactly. No, it's a, you know, our brain has some fucked up wiring like that. But then again, you know, some people, when they start treating their brains like their own private playgrounds, well, you know, fuck around, you find out.
And that is my cue to leave. Wish me luck in lifting some tasty treats.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'd better go too. Clark Nova has been really cranky lately, so I'd better refill his stash. Speaking of, has anyone seen Clark Nova recently?
I saw him scuttle out of the back bay doors. The stench out there is truly astounding. Smells like a dumpster.
A dumpster and a roach typewriter? Yeah, that tracks.
Good luck, Andy.
So this is a frozen fish aisle. Fancy. Oh, and what have we here? Some tasty fish, so juicy sweet? Nah, just halibut. I suppose this cod isn't bad, though. G'day, mate. You see any shrimps next to those there halibut? I'm raring to put some on the barbie for dinner. Yes, right here. I'm looking for a fish to fry, actually. Cod fried with some chips really hits the spot. Fried? That's a shame. Grilling on the barbie is the only way to really cook fish. Are you having what I scoffingly refer to as a laugh? Fish and chips is practically the national dish of Britannia. But you haven't lived until you've tasted grilled barramundi with lemon and a bit of pepper from Australia. Wait, did you just hear something? Oh, no.
Yeah, you Danny boy. You made me a promise.
Crikey, what's that thing? I swear I'm not carrying on like a pork chop. That is some massive cocky. I didn't even have a stubby this morning. Forget these shrimp, I'm bloody out here. The butcher Daniel went that way. And I'll just take these shrimp along with my cod. Better grilled. We'll see about that. Bloody Australians, what do they even know? Colony of thieves.
So which of these has a better eau piquant flavor? Which would Clarky choose? Benign, Taro, or Combat?
Daddy boy, I found you. Are you keeping up your end of our dog bargain?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you prefer boric acid or diatomaceous earth?
It's like asking if I prefer herbal smokes. What's the point if it's not acid?
Let's see. Salt, check. Candles, check. Silver dust is too expensive, so let's see. Next on the list is bug powder. Pest control. Yeah, it must be in this aisle. Quick, Clarky, someone's coming this way. You've got to hide.
I see how it is. You're just ashamed of my voice right now. I'm pregnant.
I'm sorry, what? Never mind. That is going to have to be a next Conclave conversation. Now scuttle.
Fine. Just don't forget the bug powder.
Oh, hey. I'm just looking for some bug powder. Have you seen it anywhere on the shelf? It's in this aisle. But you're standing right in front of it. You got a roach problem? Oh, no. I'm trying to summon a demon. And silver powder is just too expensive. Don't even get me started on powdered bone. Like, where am I even supposed to get that, right? Right? Arcana taxes in this state are brutal. By the time you've paid for the baby skeletons and powdered it, you're already in the hole. I mean, hope you're summoning a demon that can help you raise some fast cash, right? Everyone thinks the hard part to demon summoning is the eldritch lore, or the whole losing your soul piece by piece thing. It's so rare to meet someone who can appreciate the logistical challenges. Right? I was just thinking the same thing. The idiots in my secret society, they take all of my arcane knowledge for granted. By the way, do you have the name yet? For the demon you're going to summon. That really brings it all together. Do I ever? This name is prime demon stuff. I'm only here to get the final ingredients for the summons. I'd love to hear it. I don't know if I should. What's the harm? It won't work without setting up the other ingredients first. You know, it really helps if you have a book of true names. Well, okay. So the demon's name is Fred.
Danny boy, why it's taking so long? Clarky's getting grumpy without his bumping.
Holy shit, it worked! No, it didn't. That's my demon cockroach typewriter. Tell him, Clarky.
What kind of bug powder you got, boy? Only I should upgrade.
This is amazing. It even has little typewriter mouth and wings. I couldn't have dreamed of a better companion. Hey. You seem cool and all, but if you come near my bug typewriter, I swear to Nurgle.
So right, I got me some mineral spirits, some lubricant. Now all I need is some bug killer, and that should have me covered if I run into that blooming monstrosity again. That thing was worse than me neighbour's tit tarantula wobbler dingo.
What the fuck is wrong with your voice, Brother Andy?
Crikey, there it is again.
As delightfully confusing as this is, I'm gonna carpe this diem to run the fuck away. Clark Nova, on me! Hey, my demon! Come back! I have a very nice soul. I mean, not mine, but someone's.
Top of the whatever it is, good debaucher. You look right knackered.
Oh, hey, you got your accent straightened out.
What happened? Andy? Daniel?
Great. Clark Nova's back.
I love you too.
I met a great guy. I mean, lots in common. But then he tried to steal Clark Nova.
Well, I stole some disgusting shrimp and battered cod. Quick blast in the microwave and job done.
I'll have you know it absolutely contravenes society bylaws to use a microwave to heat up seafood in a microwave. This is entirely unacceptable.
Gotta say, I expected better, dude.
I don't know. Maybe we can start a bonfire out of the furniture back at the shop and grill it.
Over my dead body.
I wouldn't tempt him. We've all gotten pretty hungry.
Let's just get back to the Conclave.
By now, Bob is really struggling at work to keep it together, and his boss, Hank, notices. So Bob is sent back for more testing. And this time, the doctors notice that he is much more depressed. Bob confuses the doctors' faces and then fails to identify one of the images on their test cards. Even sadder, Bob has forgotten that he once had a wife and kids. Cue essential Philip K. Dick voiceover. Okay, we'll forgive you, movie. This one time. It is rather epic.
I have to say, I love this voiceover piece. It feels so important and heavy and portentous.
Yeah.
The doctors return to deliver the test results. And as expected, they are tragic. Bob's brain is officially shot. He's bonkers, and he needs detox at New Path. Incidentally, New Path is the only place that does not allow surveillance in this world. This will come up later again. In addition to Bob losing his job, he is also given a fine. Somehow, this is his own fault that he got addicted while on the job.
Getting addicted on the job? That's paddling.
Bob's bosses tell him that the whole surveillance of Bob Arctor was a ruse to draw out Barris, the one the PD was actually interested in. All of Barris's intel on Bob Arctor was fake or worthless, and apparently so was all the stress Bob suffered while having to investigate himself. Bob's boss does acknowledge that Bob has been dealt a bad deal, and he escorts him out of the station. After Bob leaves and his boss Hank goes to the changing room, we found out that Hank is actually a Hankette. No, it's Donna. She hops in her car and picks up Bob to take him to New Path. Bob is a wreck already, panting and retching and generally messed up by withdrawals.
What's funny is in the book, this is one major change between the book and the movie, which is otherwise almost exactly as written. In the book, there's no reveal of Bob's boss or Fred's boss, and that whole sequence between Fred and Bob's identity while he is undercover, and his boss, like is written as Fred. Like that's one of the really cool little notes, right? So you know who it is at first, but it gradually the prose changes to the point where it's written from Fred's point of view through the book until you realize, like, oh, wait a minute, okay, this is supposed to be Bob. I can't keep track of what character is which. So this is Dick pulling a little sleight of hand on the reader until you're like, oh, right, okay, I'm keeping track of who this is. So it's a classic Dickism. But the other thing that's really interesting is that...
So wait, are you saying that a dick in the hand is worth two in the bush?
Absolutely.
It's sleight of Dick. It's pure prestidigitation.
Exactly. But he does the reveal of Donna in the car. So there's a scene that happens. They do the whole scene while they're driving to New Path. But there's a scene in the car where they're basically like she takes him to a hill, like where they're parked, and she gets out a hash pipe and they smoke some hash together while he's also coming down from the D and crapping his pants and shivering with withdrawals. And while they're there talking, and she's kind of like having this goodbye saying with him, it's revealed when a local police officer sneaks up on them, knowing that they're in the car getting high, and wants, is basically like, okay, show me your ID. She gets out of the car and shows him a federal drug investigation. Like she shows her that she's with the DEA, like she's a Fed. And that's how it's revealed. She's basically like tells the cop to fuck off because she's got higher credentials than he has.
I think this reveal was a bit more cinematic. The staff at New Path call Bob a loser, but he does run into an old friend, Charles Freck. Too bad Freck's too far gone to even recognize Bob anymore. A burnt-out husk. Is that all that's left of Bob Arctor? Donna hopes not. We see her having coffee with a coworker as they discuss the chances that Bob will still be able to do undercover work in his current state. Why is that important? Because New Path, who they suspect are the makers of Substance D, is the only place that does not have surveillance. When New Path sends Bob to the farm, they see him as a burnout, so far gone that he poses little threat. While spraying some crops, Bob gets down on his knees and notices tons of little blue flowers growing beneath the corn stalks. Oh, I just got why the doctor told him to bring her blue flowers. Oh, okay.
I just got it, huh?
Just got that.
Dun.
Oh my God. I'm a little slow sometimes, guys.
Does this count as post-shadowing?
Yeah, right. The guards tease him, stop worshiping. That's not your god anymore. Those flowers are the beginning of Substance D. His guard has told him he'll be able to see his friends at Thanksgiving. Bob remembers this small fact. So the last thing we see Bob do in this film is pick a blue flower, put it in his sock, and think, for my friends. The end.
Well, it looks like the gamble may have paid off.
But at what cost?
Yeah. It really, like, one of the things I also really appreciate here, there's a line in the book that really kind of nails this. The what Substance D does to a person, which I know isn't a real thing, but people think about this, and you see this a lot, particularly in people who are drug burnouts. It says this: spray a bug with a toxin and it dies. Spray a man, spray his brain, and he becomes an insect that clacks and vibrates about in a closed circle forever. A reflex machine, like an ant, repeating his last instruction.
Hey, don't talk about Clark Nova like that.
What do you got to say for yourself, Clark Nova?
I gotta say, bug spray gets a bad rap, but you ought to try it.
Not even once.
This is your brain. This is your brain on bug spray. Any questions?
Hey, Clarky, I got this new blue ink for you to try.
Don't get me on that shit, man. It screws with me. Bad for the digestion.
Oh, man.
Yeah, could you
Nice.
imagine Clark Nova paranoid?
Oh my God.
It's finally my turn to see what I can get out of this preppy, overpriced deli mart.
Yes, Zach, please go. Maybe you'll have better luck than the rest of us so far.
Quiet, beast. I know. I saw a deli counter around here somewhere when we walked in. There! Salami sandwich. Here I come.
Welcome to Whole Market Farms. What can I get you, mister?
I would like a salami sandwich on rye, extra pickles, hold the mayo, pepperoncinis, maybe a bit of salt and pepper. Oh, don't forget the cheese. 3 kinds. Oh, but what kind?
Welcome to Whole Market Farms, sir.
Good afternoon, Dennis the deli guy. Nice to see you here. I just love the windows in your cases you have here. They really show off the gnarly meats and cheeses.
Thanks, I guess. What can I get you?
We're making a charcuterie board, brah. So whenever you think is best, I better not stand too close to this guy. He looks like he just crawled out of a dumpster behind a printing press. He's covered in disgusting shreds of paper, guy. Is that from a newspaper or books?
Mister, anything else on that sandwich?
Yeah, give me cucumbers, tomatoes, onions, olives, like all the vegetables, but hold the anchovies and the tomatoes. You would not believe how rude it is that we came back from a long journey just waiting to curl up in the lounge chairs in that back room of our store, and instead we find it full of disgusting doppelgangers, clones, imposters.
Yeah? Oh, that must be so hard. What else would you like on your sandwich?
And for you, sir, did you want cheese to go with your salami?
Sure, I could go for that, but nothing squishy or squirrely. Speaking of squishy, I think someone's improvised a face covering that is starting to sweat. It's not Halloween, dude. You should give your brows a break, am I right? Or else that paper covering on your forehead just might start to tear.
Mister, the sandwich is done. Anything else?
And another thing, how is a guy supposed to eat a sandwich in peace when he knows there are fakers watching his every move? Oh, crap. Bro, it's you! And this is me taking your salami. Run away!
Professor Andrea, I think I'll mosey over to the snack aisle. With the film summary finally complete, we are mere minutes away from leaving this terrible place for the warm comfort of our degraded discount bookstore, where we can render our judgments without interruption.
Get on with it, then.
Hey, stop him! He's running away with a sandwich!
Wait, just
Sir, I think you need to pay for that before you leave.
wait, just a flippin' minute. What the hell now? Oh, this is bad. This is very, very bad.
What now?
I think I just saw Zach hoofing it out the front doors with the security guard chasing him, and I believe he was holding a salami.
And I believe that is our cue to get the hell out of here.
But isn't Inquisitor Ethan still out there? He doesn't know.
My God, you guys. All right, everybody. No need to panic. We just casually walk out of here. Not like we're shoplifting at all. Walk out, find Ethan, and then we get the hell out of here.
Okay, everyone got it? Let's go.
Aha! The snack aisle. Let's see how many of these single-serving nut packs I can make disappear in my distinguished jacket. Nuts. They have to be here somewhere. Why the others insisted, I don't know. Oh, hello, friend. Do I know you? No matter. I've been reduced to snack food. I used to eat real food. At least I think I must have eaten real food in the past. Before those horrible copycats, imposters, frauds, duplicitous doppelgangers took over our lives and left us with a broken-down bookstore and a minivan that only sleeps one at a time, two if they're friendly, and none of us are.
Stop! That's not your salami! I really need to hit the gym and cardio room more often. Oh, God. Oh, man, I need a smoke.
That was weird. But as to your dilemma, friend, that sounds tough. You have no idea. I've been blocked at every turn. It's like they have secret scanners placed throughout the mall to monitor us. If only I still had my resonator. I'm sure I could have fixed its many, many problems if I could only concentrate without them distracting me. Do you happen to see any packages that are gluten-free? What, packages of nuts? Nuts are naturally gluten-free. Are you some kind of dim-witted granola vegan gluten-free food terrorist that never took a nutrition class?
There, I think I see him talking to someone in the snack aisle.
And another thing...
Ethan, buddy, we got some problems.
Yeah, come on. We've got to go.
But this poser was looking for gluten-free nuts. That will not stand. Hey, moron! You know what nuts are gluten-free? These nuts! That was entirely uncalled for.
No time to explain. Hope, Daniel, grab him.
Grabbing!
Hey, wait! I was in the middle of...
Oh, no, that's his third arm. Wait.
I
was like, no, that's a toe. Oh, that's not a toe. That's long, though.
No, you listen. Zach just ran out with some stolen meat and the security was hot on his trail. We need to leave stat. I do not want another ride in a paddy wagon.
Agreed.
Just as a side note, paddy wagon is a racial slur.
Fair enough, but if we stick together real nonchalant and walk straight out the self-check, we might just pull this off. It's a secret Kabbalistic technique called chutzpah.
That's my favorite kind.
Come on.
Hello, folks. Enjoy your shopping.
Yeah, right, guys?
Yep.
Sure,
Yep, real good.
And you didn't forget to pay for anything? Whatever could you mean? Daniel, crap, she's seen us. We're doomed.
Oy vey!
I'm just messing. The store sucks. Go right ahead.
Thanks.
Ooh, that was close. Too close for my liking.
I thought we were goners.
Nah, I knew all along we'd be fine. Fine, I say.
How?
Whole market farms may look nice, but it lacks one important quality.
And what's that?
Employee loyalty.
And speaking of loyalty, of all the disgusting betrayals today, Zach, this takes the cake.
Look who's just about to chow down on his totally community property salami. I'll take that.
Hey, I worked hard for that salami.
So hard for it, Halami.
No,
God,
singing.
no singing.
No singing.
Your shenanigans nearly got us all caught, Zach.
Almost.
Well, looks like we're back at our home sweet bookshop. Maybe we can finally wrap up the conclave with judgments.
I like it. Hope, why don't you start?
Oi.
Very well. I remember watching this film back in the day, and I didn't get it at all at the time. Watching it now, I get it probably all too much. On the surface, it could be seen as a almost light-hearted, jaunty comedy at times. There's some genuinely funny knockabout moments, and it's a bunch of drugheads having little shenanigans among themselves. But it's also a much darker story, but not for the reasons I initially thought. There's one scene at the very end that was added for the sake of the movie, I believe, where the character of Keanu Reeves's boss, played by Winona Ryder, is talking through what they've just done to him. They've effectively caused one of their agents to get addicted to this terrifying substance just so they can shove him, unbeknownst to himself, undercover in order to bust the big case. They've ruined a man's life. They've definitely broken a hell of a lot of laws. And the only reason they've had to do this is because their gargantuan Big Brother-style surveillance system can't see in this one spot on the map where they've had to send their agents. Now, just think about that for a second. This is a surveillance system that can view everyone in America all the time, all day long. They can see everyone's conversations, who everyone is, where they're going. And that's terrifying. That's horrifying. And that should be the most dark and dystopian thing at all. But this film lets the cops off the hook by having this scene at the very end. These cops are saying, oh, we had to do this terrible thing, but we hate having to do something so mean. We really wish we didn't have to do something so dark. It makes it seem like they're actually just people doing an unpleasant job they'd rather not be doing. They're good guys, really, to sort of put us on their side, emotionally speaking.
Yeah, they're definitely moralizing a lot, trying to come up with some sort of reason not to, like, feel so bad
Yeah, Philip K. Dick definitely had empathy for the drug users, and to an extent this film does too, but it also has a little bit too much empathy for the jackbooted cops who are watching everybody's movements with no regard for any kind of constitutional restrictions whatsoever. There's an undercurrent of propaganda in this that I found weirdly distasteful, and it nearly slips under the radar because of all the other craziness and mind-meltingness that's going on at the time. And for that little thread of dark, nasty right-wingedness that seems to have snuck in with the rest of this film, I must find it guilty.
Well said. Well done.
Very well reasoned.
No, thank you.
I might be a bit naive. No, I definitely am a bit naive when it comes to drugs and stuff. But the reason I think this movie is definitely guilty is because when I watched it, I felt like I was on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never even taken drugs. As we commented earlier in the episodes, some of the conversations that they have are so nonsensical, but they're all convinced it makes perfect sense. And I'm like, are you crazy or am I crazy? What's going on here? Like the discussions about the number of gears on the bike, or the discussions about what's wrong with the car, or why Barris would booby trap the house and put a sign that says "come on in." It's so stupid. Yeah, he's so convinced this is like the best course of action. It makes my head hurt to think about it. So for that reason, I absolutely believe this film, if you watch it, especially more than once, will definitely cause you cinemania. So guilty.
Well said.
Well, if you think it's so well said, why don't you go next, Zach?
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the casting in this movie, because we were talking so much about how all of the conversations of the drug addicts seem so genuine. So we got, in this cast, we got RDJ, who has notorious track record with drugs.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly.
Self-admitted.
Admittedly.
Yeah, admittedly. We have Woody Harrelson, who's like known to be one of the biggest like potheads in Hollywood. And Keanu Reeves, although like, a self-admitted dabbler, has been like, known to partake. And then we have Winona Ryder, who had her own battles with addiction, mainly painkillers and stuff. So you have all of these actors who are very much in, well, let's say, their comfort zone in knowing the material.
Where we start questioning, are they actually acting? This is acting, but the conversations and stuff, they bring that kind of manicness to it that they all know, that they all, like Ethan and I were saying, being around a bunch of druggies and stuff like that through our lives, having how this conversations and stuff just sound so genuine. For these guys, I'm sure they read the scripts and they're just like, oh yeah, I know this. And because of that level of authenticity, I don't believe they were really, truly acting. And for that, I'm judging it guilty.
Hold on a moment. The inside of my shirt is super wet. What's happening?
Just a guess. Did you remember to take out the frozen fish and shrimp when we got back from the whole market farms?
Oh, blast. They're ruined.
Did anyone manage to snag any other food while we were there?
I was on a roll until you lot interrupted me. I seem to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mr. Crunchies peanut snack packs. Damn, and salted. Well, I suppose it's better for my blood pressure at any rate.
I managed to bring back 4 new books for the shop.
Well, at least we have Zach's salami.
Yeah, you do.
And you know how much he wants everyone to touch his salami.
What salami? I don't remember any salami. It must have been a collective hallucination.
Hallucination? Wait, hallucination?
Jesus Christ, Andy, are you auditioning for Deep Throat 2?
Hope, wait, hold on. Hope, in the employee break room, someone passed us and talked to us. What did you see?
A cyclops Now you mention it, that was weird.
And you, Zach, what did he look like to you?
That crazy guy was on fire, just all in flames with smoke coming off the top, like the album cover from Wish You Were Here. You know, the more I describe it, the stranger it sounds.
Exactly. And Ethan, what did you see?
I am a bit ashamed to say this, but at the time I thought he was a giant human-sized cockroach. But I was hearing Pink Floyd at the same time.
Why were we all suddenly hallucinating?
Oh, you're back. I found some mints in the storage room desk drawer, and you asked about hallucinations.
Brother Methuselah? You wouldn't know anything about that.
Would you now, sir?
Actually, I was trying to tell you when you grabbed all the berries that they're from a belladonna bush. You're not supposed to eat them. They're poisonous.
I hate my life. Is one of the side effects of the poison hallucinations?
Why, yes.
Oh,
Throw
you out a fucking window.
Wait a minute. If I could find my
Hold on,
key, I'd
everybody.
get over to
Hold on. We still need to finish judgment before anyone teaches Brother Methuselah any lessons.
All of the lessons. Okay, I don't have a great judgment on this movie because it just fucked with me. It's just a mind fuck. Are they on drugs? Are we on drugs? Also, very ethically ambiguous. Like, there's the whole... I'm a big Star Trek fan. And there's the whole Vulcan, you know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one or the few. But how ethical is it to just completely fuck over a dude, completely screw with his brain in order to get to the root of the problem? Because that's kind of what they were doing, isn't it, guys? Like,
well, admittedly, Bob wasn't a real person. I mean, he was a cop, and you know.
Okay, before he became a cop, he was a real person at some point in his life. But they sacrificed his life, his entire existence, in order to find the source of substance D, and hopefully to therefore spare hundreds, thousands, millions of more lives. I don't know how widespread the substance D problem was.
But even before he was a cop, I mean, all they're really sacrificing is Mr. Anderson.
Yeah. Oh, motherfucker.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, Hope, because it's just like, it is the tendency of, you know, large law enforcement or armies and fascist organizations to really moralize themselves that the losses that they take are justified.
Yeah, they're not people, they're statistics, they're numbers, they're pawns on a chessboard.
And that's exactly what Winona Ryder's
character,
boss, when she was talking to him at the end, he was like saying, our names won't be written down, but we'll know the loss and, you know, that he made.
Yeah, intellectually, I know. It's like the trolley problem. It's totally worth it to sacrifice one person in order to save hundreds or thousands or however. We don't know how bad this substance D problem is. Like, logically and intellectually, it makes sense to sacrifice this one person to save hundreds, if not more, of other people and to stop this in its tracks. Like dropping the A-bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, you know? It evens out in the end, or it comes out better in the end. But then at the same time, like, making people into math problems, making people logical parts of these issues just feels wrong.
Yeah, it's cold.
I hope not to well actually you. I'm sorry about this, but I think it's relevant. Actually, I think it reinforces your point with what they've found in sort of going back over historical documents and communications of the time is that bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki turns out wasn't even really necessary to end the conflict with Japan. They mostly did it to put the scare into Russia for afterwards because, you know, oh my God, communists. So like, I think it only makes your point even stronger that it's like often these sorts of like sacrifices for the greater good are like not really necessary, and they're usually for an ulterior motive.
Like the mutually assured destruction and all of that. Do we need to have all of this in order to assure that we won't kill each other? Do we need to be able to destroy everything to ensure that we won't just kill each other. It's kind of what's happening here. Like, we're sacrificing this person, his whole humanity, his entire existence, hopefully so that we can save others.
And if we were all just blissed out on substance D and blue flowers, maybe we'd all be a lot calmer and kill each other a lot less. You know?
Maybe.
No?
They don't
Maybe
seem
we'd
very
see
calm, man.
the way the world really works. I don't know. Anyways, for making us examine the capitalist bullshit and all of the insane world we live in, I would definitely have to judge this film guilty. I mean, for so many reasons, but partly for that reason.
Okay.
I don't know, man. This movie is so fucked up. And there's no scanners in this at all. No scanners, no printers, no fax machines.
Not even a telegraph.
I know, in 2011 when it's set. So, I mean, admittedly, I got this film when I first saw it, when it came out. Like, it made sense to me.
But you and Clark Nova have been buddies for a while, so
well, you know, that's where we met. It was in college. And, you know, I really, really liked it. But a few years later, I heard a lot about what went on behind the scenes, not even in production and like filming, but post-production. Yeah. So suffice to say,
so are we moving on to your judgment now?
Yeah, this is his
I guess we are. Yeah.
That's a good segue.
That was my smooth transition.
With it, sir.
Way to unsmooth it. It took them 23 days to film this movie. It took them 15 months to do the animation afterwards.
Wait, they shot it in how many days?
23 days.
Wow.
I mean, seriously, it's mostly they're just sitting around in an apartment, like being, yo, dude. And then half of the time that they're going somewhere else, it didn't matter because it got rotoscoped over anyway with the sets. I mean, to the extent that, get this, Robert Downey Jr. didn't memorize any of his lines, just stuck them all on Post-its all around the set. And then ad-libbed half of it anyway. And they were just like, hey, it's fine. The rotoscoping of all the scenery will just cover them up anyway. So here's the thing, though. So Linklater went in and he was like, I really want to do this. And it was groundbreaking for its time when they first started working on it. This is important later when I say when they started working on it, right? So it was groundbreaking stuff. Everybody was really excited for it. But that means, like, they didn't know how to do it going in. Particularly Linklater, he wasn't an effects heavy director. He really didn't know how to direct an animated or a CGI anything. Like, he didn't do a lot of effects. So he just shot it like he would normally on the assumption, oh, we'll just plaster it over later, right? Not right. So I learned about this. It took 15 months to do the animation, and it was not supposed to take nearly that long. It was supposed to take like 6, and they were just crushing the animator team that was working on this. For 6 months, they were working 18 hours a day for weeks on end. And when they saw, like, oh, this is all we've got so far for 6 months, of course, right? Linklater and the producers flipped out. They didn't take into account the fact the software for this was new to all the animators. They had to learn it. They had to create all of the templates, right? All of this other stuff. And on top of that, because they were under such a time crunch, the artistic director decided to split the FX teams into 5 groups, try to crank it out faster, right? But they didn't communicate with each other. So at the end of those 6 months, they weren't nearly far enough along and nothing looked consistent. They didn't have style guides. They didn't meet. And Linklater wasn't looking at the FX equivalent of the dailies because he was off already making Bad News Bears by then. Talk about cognitive dissonance, right? Complete clusterfuck. So everybody wigs out. These poor people, they go on a single diner break in the middle of the night because they're fucking fried, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And while they're doing that, the producer locks them out of their own office, takes all their computers, basically fires them without even telling them, gives the computers and all that stuff to a different team of artists to take over. Like, these are people who, like, admittedly, they screwed up a bunch of stuff because of all this, general chicanery and screw ups. But, like, they had been working nonstop for 6 months. They get maybe an also credit on the back end of it, right? The new artists, then they're only given 6 months to fucking cram through this thing, right? Now, at the very least, they've got to fix what was there before and finish it. That includes training, total redesign. In some cases, they had to invent the software, right?
Wow.
But they did at least use style guides and things like that and close meetings, right, with Linklater finally. They used proper project management. And they killed themselves and they banged that sucker out in another 6 months. And here's the thing. All of that groundbreaking work, well, because it was so late, it got delayed by over 6 months from a release in fall of 2005 to summer of 2006. What else came out in summer of 2006? Pixar's Cars.
Oh.
And it gets better. Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest with the first Davy Jones and all those tentacles over Nai's face. That is just stunning. And so by comparison now, right, the Scanner Darkly looks kind of half-assed.
I don't think so. I think actually it stands up better. Like if you look at the CGI slop and particularly Dead Man's Chest, I think Scanner Darkly doesn't look half-assed. It looks like a work of art. That's my opinion.
But you have to keep in mind this is in hindsight. At the time, audiences going in mostly because they heard they were groundbreaking CGI, and mostly what they were looking at was Bill Nye's tentacles. Right? That's a tough head-to-head. And Cars, like fucking Pixar, right? So
I just meant
these
like
poor
in
people
hindsight,
just got raked over the coals for everything that they really didn't deserve, all because Linklater, and he said this, he admitted going in an interview, like, I don't know how to do animation. And it wasn't even like, oh, because Philip K. Dick, it's got to be done this way. No, it was just because, there's not enough adult animation. I wanted to do an adult animation. That's why, according to him. Now, it was actually a great artistic choice, but he didn't know that. So the thing is, Linklater goes in thinking he's fucking James Cameron, who kind of is just technically brilliant and groundbreaking all the time. But he's not. He's Linklater, right? He's a great director, but he's not a technical guy.
No one else is James Cameron. That's just how it is.
And thank God for that, because some of his movies are utter trash aside from the effects. So I guess what I'm saying is because this movie wormed its way into Linklater's brain and convinced him he was James Cameron, this film is utterly guilty of Cinemania.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
I would have to agree with you.
Yep.
Which just leaves us, I believe, with Sinquisitor Ethan.
Everybody clear your schedules.
I know you might be torn here, Sinquisitor, to maybe go against the group, but I think we've got a nearly unanimous vote here. So do us proud.
That's really funny because you took what I usually do, which is production notes, and you did the production notes, which I think is great. Like, I love that you looked into that.
Well, I really care about effects and stuff, and I knew a couple of guys who they didn't work on it themselves, but they knew the guys who did, so I heard about it a few years later.
You knew a guy?
Oh, that's great.
I did.
And
a guy, Daniel?
I know, right? Usually it's Ethan who knows a guy. And it just ruined my ability to rewatch this movie ever again, because I was like, oh, I know what's going on here.
Well, and I'm glad you took that section because there's so much to talk about in this film. I mean, there's a ton. There's a lot that I'm going to talk about now, but there's so much else. Like we could just do a whole, I don't know. Anyway. Let me start by saying that A Scanner Darkly is one of my top two favorite Philip K. Dick novels. The other being Deus Irae, which he co-wrote with Roger Zelazny, which if you haven't read it, that was actually really cool and really weird.
That's a weird fucking book.
What's your favorite one?
My top two favorite Philip K. Dick novels are A Scanner Darkly and Deus Irae, literally God of Wrath, which he co-wrote with Roger Zelazny around the same time, actually. I want to say this in mid-70s.
I've never heard of that one.
There's a reference to that in this movie, by the way.
Yeah.
It's quick, but it's there.
Oh, yeah. No, I picked that one up. Yeah, no, Deus Irae is about a quadriplegic artist who takes a pilgrimage across the post-nuclear United States to find the guy who pushed the button, who has been elevated to godhood. It's a really, really weird book.
Whoa.
But it's also very interesting. Anyway, so I first read A Scanner Darkly when I was 18 or 19 years old, and I reread it several times in college. One of the key points about Scanner is that despite its being published toward the end of Dick's life and career, and despite its being written about a head whose reality is beginning to break down, it's much better at maintaining narrative coherence than a lot of earlier novels. Despite being a dickhead, and yes, that's what fans of his work call themselves, moving on.
Yeah, I kind of suspect that when he was writing Scanner Darkly, his meth dealer was on vacation.
I don't know that I'm ready to move on from that. Can we move? I don't think we should move on.
We're moving on from that. I find a lot of Phil Dick's works extremely frustrating to read because the walls of reality start breaking down to the point that it's just really hard to keep track of what the hell's going on. So like Ubik, The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, Flow My Tears, The Policeman Said, don't even get me started on Counterclock World. These are all really difficult reads for that reason.
Yeah, I much prefer him in short form for exactly that reason.
I also tend to prefer short Dick. I mean, Dick Shorts. I mean,
Ethan.
You know what I mean.
Ethan, you know what
it's
you mean.
It's not the length that matters.
They say you should.
Though? You can't get across the Atlantic in a rowboat.
Okay, you know what I mean. But they say you should write what you know, and I think Dick was doing very much this.
And what did he know? What did he know?
Well, this is what you're seeing, what he knew.
Drugs and paranoia.
Yeah, basically living and grinding poverty with a bunch of fellow drug heads. And yeah, drugs and paranoia.
Yeah, in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, it's a deeply personal work. I don't think Dick inserted himself into this as much as any one, as any one character. I think Linklater chose an actor to play Charles Freck who looks distinctly like Philip K. Dick. I think anybody listening should pick up and read A Scanner Darkly and follow it up with Valis, if they can handle that, which is one of his last books he ever wrote. And it's a lot like A Scanner Darkly, but it actually does have Philip Dick's self-insert character, whose name is Horse Lover Fat, trying to understand his own I saw a God moment.
Excuse me, say that again. What's his name?
Horse Lover Fat. Philip literally means Phil Hippos, which literally means lover of horses. Dick is German for fat.
And that's his Christian name given to him by his parents?
Philip K. Dick. Yeah, that's his name.
Oh, boy.
But his character's name and his self-insert character's name in Valis is Horse Lover Fat, which is basically Philip K. Dick, or Philip Dick, translated into two different languages.
Would you say that that's a self-insert character?
I just said that, yes.
Stop interrupting the dickhead. Let him speak.
Come on, let's insert dick joke here.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage the readers, the listeners, to listen to A Scanner Darkly, follow it up with Valis, and then follow those two reads up with Paul Williams' absolutely excellent biography of Phil Dick, which I mentioned earlier, Only Apparently Real, because the first two books show you the inside of Dick's own head from his own perspective, and the last one will show you what he looked like from someone else's point of view.
Dick's always looked different from someone else's point of view.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
See, those jokes are addictive.
Right. Like...
Sorry,
I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. I just want to point out that despite, all kayfabe aside, Hope, I do a hell of a lot of reading and prep for this show.
Oh, I believe you. I also just think of a lot of dick jokes for this show.
Yeah, exactly.
I drink a couple cocktails.
We can make dick jokes a yard long. I got it. But
oh God, a yard long?
Nicely done.
No,
Nicely
thank you.
done. Moving on.
I also think that both this book and this film underscore Philip K. Dick's shockingly accurate predictions of the future.
Definitely.
He foresaw a vast surveillance state that had smart devices in every home that spied on their users, that also had microtransactions built into them. Mm-hmm. He foresaw a public-private partnership that was built to support such a surveillance state. For example, try asking your Echo, Alexa, what is surveillance capitalism? Sometime if you want to hear a machine be as surly as it's possible for a machine to be. He saw vast overlapping and occasionally competing spheres of police power. For example, so although Bob Archer was a sheriff's department narc, one thing the movie, as I mentioned, kind of skipped over, but the book really underlined was that Donna was a Fed. Then, as I said, also, the major change in the film is that it reveals Donna as Bob's boss. The book only implies it. Donna is revealed as a Fed who is sacrificing a county-level cop on the altar of drug enforcement, and in so doing, pursuing a completely different cult power structure in New Path, which, by the way, is modeled on the addiction recovery / quasi-religious movement known as Synanon, which turned out to have been an actual full-fledged cult and one of the worst, most violent cults in American history, and which was undergoing a lot of federal and state investigation throughout Dick's heyday in the 60s and 70s. That was in the newspapers. It was on the television. They were doing a lot of investigation of Synanon, which up to that point had been thought to be like, hey, this is the way you get people off of drugs. And the Feds spent a long time failing to infiltrate Synanon without a lot of success. I'll tell you another funny thing is the year after The Scanner Darkly was published, Synanon tried to assassinate an attorney who had successfully sued them on behalf of the people who had escaped the cult by putting a rattlesnake inside his mailbox.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah. The podcast Behind the Bastards, it has an excellent run of episodes on Synanon, so go listen to those if you want to know more.
Yeah. They're really good. I just forgot about the snake.
Yeah. I don't know how you can forget that. That's nuts. But there's so much about Synanon that we could even talk about that he so accurately captures in the book. Like there's a section there where they are doing, quote, the game, which is a thing they did in Synanon that got adopted by a bunch of other drug recovery organizations, where they basically have the recovering addicts sit around in a circle and shout insults at one another. And it was somehow believed that this is going to be helpful. But he captures this so accurately that
Wait. I think they did a scene like that in Handmaid's Tale in the TV version.
I don't know. I haven't seen A Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, they did. They definitely did a scene like that.
It's possible, too, because Synanon was dismantled in the early 90s, and A Handmaid's Tale was written, what, the 80s?
Yep.
Well, I don't know if it was in the book, but in the TV series, they do a scene where they have this girl talk about how it's her fault that she was raped, or her fault that she was seen as a slut, or something like that. Like, they definitely do that in the TV series.
Yeah. A lot of cults use those sort of techniques. Synanon really mastered it and then passed it along to a lot of other cults that followed. You see a lot of parallels to the scene from The Master where they're quote unquote programming or deprogramming Joaquin Phoenix, because that's taken from Scientology. It's just another form of the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's really weird and really frustrating because, like so much of this stuff got incorporated into recovery psychology, and folks who are actually like in recovery psychology are now trying to figure out how do we unpick this. And it's very hard, but it's very, very interesting when you go back and you read the book and you realize, and you read some histories of Synanon, you realize how absolutely accurate Dick was in that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving on. I mean, I don't want to beat that particularly horse to death because we're talking about a horse lover here.
Womp, womp.
Yeah. But anyway, one of the things I want to also make a point about is that so many of Philip Dick's contemporaries writing science fiction, they saw technology being this whiz-bang thing that humans could just use to improve themselves and transcend their basic natures. I mean, look at Star Trek, for example. Like, we have used technology to essentially stop being humans. And Dick saw technology as being just another tool that we stupid monkeys have to be shitty to one another. And the more sophisticated the tool, the more sophisticated the shittiness we inflict on one another.
We're the shittiest fucking monkeys, aren't we?
Yeah.
Pretty shitty monkeys.
I really think, and I think the difference between the way that Dick wrote fiction and the way that other people like, say Gene Roddenberry, who was a military officer, wrote fiction, is it's a matter of social class. A lot of sci-fi writers in the golden age were folks who were at least middle class, if not much higher. And Dick lived most of his life at the absolute bottom. And when you're under the boot, it's a hell of a lot easier to describe the treads that are stepping on your neck.
Yeah, this is a really fascinating thing that you're calling out, Inquisitor Ethan, where you see this transition right around this time, starting in about the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Where Philip K. Dick was one of a few of these like second wave or maybe third wave sci-fi writers, right? Taking over from a lot of these academics and like used to be scientists, right? People wealthy, people intellectual. So like, but Philip K. Dick, people like Harlan Ellison, he's one of those people who had like fucking 50 jobs in his About the Author before he started writing, like truck driver, carny, the whole thing, right? Ran away when he was 15. And these guys, and women too, right? These writers, they had seen a different side of life, and they were thinking about how these wonderful technologies would affect those people, because they saw what happens, every time there's something shiny and new, who benefits and who doesn't.
I see this in my real life when I'm talking about social issues with my husband. He grew up upper middle class. His parents were both doctors, he very upper middle class. He lived in one place his whole life. I moved around a lot. I was very, very working class, went to a bunch of different schools. My parents consistently had 3 to 4 jobs between the two of them. And so I've seen it from the inside, like people on welfare, people on public assistance. I know this personally. I was a free lunch kid, so I understand where people are coming from, whereas he has only heard it secondhand. And when we talk about these sort of things, it feels like we're coming from entirely different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about it sometimes, and I'll be like, so you have this completely different idea of what these people are like. But these people aren't like weird, strange, totally different people. These are people like me. This is me. This is where I came from. And it just blows his mind.
Yeah.
Like that he hasn't. When you see it firsthand versus just hearing about it. It's like those Republicans who are very anti-gay marriage or anti-abortion until their child is gay and wants to get married, or until their mistress is pregnant or something like that. You know, like it's not real until it affects you.
Yeah, the disconnect is huge.
It is. And some people try really hard to overcome it, and some people can't overcome it until it actually really affects them.
Yeah. And they can't have empathy for somebody or something until they personally experience it. That's one of the classic tropes of people say about conservatives.
It's really hard. I feel like somehow we need to be able to teach that to children.
Yeah, we'd like to.
We try where I'm working, what I do, we try to do those sort of things, but there's only so much you can do without actually experiencing these sort of things, without actually mixing and mingling. But it's hard. You know, schools get segregated. Someone said, like, what if there was a number you could assign every child that would tell you how their future is going to be? And someone replied, their zip code will do that for you. Yeah. We'll tell you what's going to happen to them. Look at their zip code. Like, how fucking stupid is that? Where you grow up and where you live makes such a difference, but it does.
Bringing it back, though, one of the things that I really want to nail, the thing that I feel like was astonishingly predictive, was Phil Dick's way of observing how paranoia and conspiracism could be used as a tool of power. And in this particular case, you have people who are themselves caught up and paranoid because of the substance they're using, but the structures of power are also reinforcing paranoia as a means to achieve that power.
Oh, absolutely.
The one of his best, most prophetic quotes, which he said this in just before he died, and this blows my fucking mind. He said this, quote, "Today we live in a society in which spurious realities are manufactured by the media, by governments, by big corporations, by religious groups, political groups. So I ask in my writing, what is real? Because unceasingly we are bombarded with pseudo-realities manufactured by very sophisticated people using very sophisticated electronic mechanisms. I do not distrust their motives, I distrust their power. They have a lot of it, and it is an astonishing power, that of creating whole universes of the mind. I ought to know, I do the same thing," end quote. Now, go back to the Bush years when some unknown White House staffer, who is believed to be Karl Rove, let the mask drop fully for a moment when he told the journalist Ron Suskind, quote, "The reality-based community believe that solutions emerge from your judicious study of discernible reality, but that's not the way the world works anymore. We're an empire now, and when we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, we'll act again, creating other realities which you can study too. And that's how things will sort out. We're history's actors, and you, all of you, will be left to just study what we do," end quote. And I think these two quotes are two sides of the same coin. They're just viewed from the top and the bottom of the power ladder. They are more true today than ever, what with the way social media algorithms shape reality, the way we see dictators like Putin and Trump using the, quote, fire hose of falsehood, the way that we see corporations like Palantir becoming embedded in the Defense Department and profiling and threat modeling every single person in the United States based on real-time monitoring. If you ever wondered how ICE can be so granular in targeting individual people for arrest and deportation, like finding them on the highway and stuff, it's Palantir. Phil Dick saw this coming, all of this, and he tried to warn us. And that is why this film is guilty.
Way to bring it back around.
I feel like with your judgment, Sinquisitor, it's not so much that you're finding the film guilty, but rather the rest of us in our timeline is somehow guilty of giving Cinemania to the movie, which is an interesting take, but I'll go with it.
Somehow we've aligned with the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's rather telling, isn't
Art
it?
becomes reality.
That was my rant. I know there was a lot, but...
No, that was, I think we all feel the same way, or many of us feel the same way. I know I do, and I work with this stuff on a daily, so I have a lot of strong feels about it.
Well, as I like to say, this may not be the darkest timeline, but it sure is the stupidest.
Is there a lesson in all of this?
Yeah, this one is a bit of a head scratcher.
No kidding.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, it's a simple story. Boy meets... Okay, wait. I got this. So the boy isn't the boy, but the boy doesn't know that, and he meets the girl who he doesn't know is a boy, pretending to be a different boy, but she's the girl all along. Everyone takes drugs. The boy's best friend tries to rat him out to the feds, and in the end, boy learns to give a girl a bunch of flowers because that's nice. Hey, I did it.
I can't believe that you, of all people, you understood this film.
Well, you know what they say. Past is prologue.
Did anybody hear that?
Hear what?
I heard a knock at the door. Well, this is unexpected. Look what I found on the doorstep.
Is that a gift basket? Got charcuterie, nuts, oh, and a card.
Let me see that card. Welcome to our new neighbors, signed by the doppelgangers.
Trade! No, wait.
What strange new hell is this? Give me that. I'm going to analyze the handwriting for signs of inherent criminality.
Well, at least now we have some food.
You do know that graphology is about as accurate as phrenology.
And they are both very valid sciences.
Are you crazy? We can't eat food given to us by our enemies. It could be a Trojan Nasharai.
Are we sure they're enemies, though? That salami looks really good.
I mean, you can't trust a
I'm
random
gonna eat
I mean,
it.
I don't know if that's something you really...
No, I mean,
Come
you can't
on,
trust it.
it's
I am
my
hungry,
stomach.
so I'm
Give me food.
Give
Gotta
me...
be more paranoid.
Hey, you forgot to get my aerosol blood powder. I'm snorting for a huge, greasy, pulsating egg sack now. Son of a bitch, I went with the wrong Daniel.
Motherfucker.
The Cinemania Society was written, produced, and performed by Hope Bravo, Andrea Palladino, Zacharia Berks, Ethan Ireland, Andy Slack, and Daniel Scribner. Editing and sound design by Ethan Ireland. Music by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Incidental music and sound effects courtesy of Epidemic Sound. The Cinemania Society is a work of fiction. Unless otherwise indicated, all the names, characters, businesses, places, events, and incidents appearing in this audio play are either the product of the author's imagination or are used in a fictitious manner. Any resemblance to actual persons, living dead, or actual events is purely coincidental and or a part of a work of parody that should not be construed as making statements or allegations of actual fact. All celebrity voices are impersonated unless otherwise stated. The Cinemania Society is available on social media. You can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky, and our Reddit feed on r/The Cinemania Society. Or just please email us at thecinemaniasociety.gmail.com. You, yes, you, listening right now, please take a second to drop us a line, because not only are we dying for an excuse to do a listener mail episode, we genuinely love to hear from you.